Have you ever wondered why some of the things you do each day require no thought, no conscious effort, yet they quietly shape the very foundation of who you are? You reach for your phone, you brush your teeth, you take the same turn on the same road, barely aware of the action. You don't think, you simply do. This is the strange, almost mystical power of automaticity, the silent engine of human habits, and today we will journey into its depths, not as a scientist dissecting data, not as a philosopher spinning theory, but as fellow travelers trying to understand why so much of our lives runs on rails we never chose, yet continue to follow. Automaticity is the ability of a habit to operate without conscious thought. It is not just repetition. It is not mere discipline. It is when a behavior has become so woven into the fabric of your daily rhythm that it bypasses the gatekeeper of awareness. Think of the last time you drove home and realized you remembered nothing of the journey. Your hands turned the wheel, your feet pressed the pedals, yet your mind was elsewhere, drifting. Who was driving then? Not your conscious self. It was the silent hand of habit, automaticity, guiding every movement. This is both beautiful and dangerous, because what operates automatically no longer asks for permission. It simply is. Automaticity is not a modern invention. It is ancient, an evolutionary gift. Our ancestors could not afford to spend precious energy analyzing every movement, every choice. If survival required pausing to calculate each step, hesitation could mean death. Automaticity is the brain's answer to the burden of consciousness. It says, you don't need to think about walking, I'll handle that. You don't need to relearn fire making, I'll take care of it. Save your awareness for the unpredictable, the unknown, the predator waiting in the grass. From tying knots to crafting tools, from walking upright to cooking meals, automaticity freed our minds to climb higher, to imagine, to dream. Without it, philosophy itself may never have been born. For how could Socrates have pondered truth if he had to consciously think through every breath, every step, every swallow of food? Automaticity is the quiet servant of thought. It carries the body so the mind may wander. But what serves us can also enslave us. Automaticity does not discriminate. It does not judge whether the habit it powers is noble or destructive. It only asks, have you repeated this enough? Scroll long enough, and automaticity will train your thumb to flick before your mind even notices. Smoke often enough, and the ritual embeds itself so deeply that the cigarette finds your lips before the craving even arrives. In this way, automaticity is like fire. A flame can warm your home or burn it down. The same mechanism that allows a pianist's fingers to dance freely across keys can also anchor a gambler to the slot machine. The danger lies not in automaticity itself, but in our blindness to it. For the habits we repeat in the shadows become the architects of who we are in the light. Philosophers have long wrestled with the nature of freedom. Are we truly free if so much of what we do is automatic? Spinoza once wrote, "Men believe themselves free because they are conscious of their actions and unconscious of the causes by which those actions are determined." Automaticity is one of those hidden causes. We think we choose, we think we decide, but in truth, many of our so-called choices are rehearsals of yesterday's rehearsals. We are not choosing anew, we are echoing. Is this slavery, or is it liberation? Perhaps both. For if freedom were to require conscious thought for every action, we would collapse under its weight. Automaticity is not the death of freedom. It is its condition. By carrying the ordinary, it frees the mind for the extraordinary. Psychology gives us a map of how automaticity is forged. Habits form when a cue triggers a routine that ends in a reward. Repeat this cycle enough, and the neural pathway thickens, like a trail in the forest beaten down by countless footsteps. At first, walking the path requires attention, but soon the forest remembers. The trail becomes clear. The brain no longer debates. It recognizes the cue and sends you forward. What is astonishing is the speed of this shift. A habit may begin as a conscious effort, but with each repetition, it slides into the subconscious, wearing grooves into the mind. The more ingrained it becomes, the less energy it demands, until one day it is simply part of who you are. This is why breaking a bad habit feels like carving a new trail through a dense, unyielding forest, and why starting a good habit feels so exhausting at first, but later becomes second nature. Automaticity is the hidden gravity pulling us back to the paths we've already worn. Imagine your life as a theater. You, the conscious self, stand under the spotlight, believing you are the star, the director, the playwright. But behind the curtain, hidden from the audience, automaticity is working tirelessly. It sets the stage, it moves the scenery, it whispers lines you didn't know you had memorized. Without it, the play could not go on, yet it rarely takes a bow. The tragedy is that some of us never look behind the curtain. We live convinced that we are always acting freely, never realizing how much of the play has been scripted by repetition. But awareness, mere awareness, changes everything. For the moment you recognize the silent stagehand, you gain the power to rewrite the play. Automaticity raises profound questions about identity itself. Are you the sum of your conscious thoughts or the accumulation of your unconscious habits? If every morning you rise and meditate, does this not shape you more deeply than the fleeting beliefs you declare but never practice? If every night you drink until sleep, does that not define you more than the values you profess when sober? In the end, perhaps identity is less about what we think of ourselves and more about what automaticity has made of us. We become what we repeatedly do, not once, not twice, but endlessly until the action no longer asks us, it simply takes us. Automaticity cannot be erased, it cannot be banished, but it can be guided. Like a river, it flows where it has been carved. Change the carving and the river bends. This is the secret. Don't fight automaticity, train it. Build rituals that serve your highest self so that when the mind is tired, the body still carries you forward. Want to be a writer? Do not wait for inspiration. Sit at the desk each day until the act of sitting becomes automatic. Want to live with health? Train your body to crave movement until exercise is as natural as breath. The habits you design today will become the autopilot of tomorrow. Automaticity will work for you or against you. The choice lies only in what you repeat. Automaticity is the ghost in the machine, the silent architect of the self. It asks for no permission, it seeks no applause. It simply does its work day after day, year after year. But if you can see it, if you can honor it, guide it, and respect its power, then you no longer walk blind, you walk with awareness. And in that awareness, you hold a quiet kind of freedom, not freedom from habit, but freedom through it.